All right, so what does a consulting project look like from start to finish? I've identified 12 steps in the process, what I'm calling the consulting life cycle. In my experience, you have to go through every single one of those for any consulting project you might actually embark on. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of what they are, then in future videos we'll spend a bit more time on each of them separately. So you would start with step 1, marketing. There, the idea is to get the word out that you're ready and able to take on consulting projects. Once the word has gotten out, some people might have shown interest. Perhaps they'll contact you first. Perhaps you will contact them first. But you need to start the discussions with prospective clients. Initial contact. The client is still prospective at this point. You're just starting the conversation. Once that's happened, if there's enough interest going forward, you might need to set up your first meeting face-to-face, or in the days of the pandemic, online. At the end of the first meeting, you should commit to writing a proposal for the prospective client. When you write your proposal, you will realize, well, first of all, what it is that you need to do in order to finish the project or complete the project, but you'll realize that you need help and you need specific people to play specific roles. So you will have to assemble a team. These could be former students, people you've worked on projects with in the past, or if you work in a consulting shop, it could be your colleagues. You might be assigned to a team as well. The next step would be to write the proposal and to prepare the planning. You lay out in that document what it is that you and your team can do for the client. Based on the first meeting you had with them, where they presumably described in more detail what it is they're looking for, and the initial contact with them, either through email or a phone call, where they gave you an elevator pitch of what it is that they were looking for. That proposal is finished, you send it to the client, and then you need to take care of contracting, insurance, intellectual property matters. In general, you shouldn't really start working on the project until this is cleared up. And you might be quite excited about having a project, so you're willing to sweep a lot of stuff under the carpet. One of the things we'll talk about is that you can't. Okay, this is a very, very crucial step. If this isn't done properly, then you risk not getting paid at the end of the project, and you might find yourself handcuffed with restrictions as to what you can do with the work you've done. Once that has been figured out, then you will move on to the first proper analytical task, information gathering. Part of that may include data collection and cleaning, but another part of that might just be to go to the company, meet with the people who work there, and get a sense, a qualitative sense, of what the project's about and what the context is about. Once you've collected your data and you've cleaned it, and you've gotten all the information you might want about the project, you will start the analysis itself. This is where your quantitative skills will actually come into play. Steps 7, 8, and potentially 9 here, it looks like they're written down as though they happen in a sequential fashion, but we know that there could be a lot of back and forth here. So 7, 8, 9 could have been compressed into one meta step. At any rate, step 9, you need to start interpreting the results. Just to say, it's not enough to have analyzed the situation, to have come up with a model, to have come up with results. You need to be able to provide the client an interpretation of these results, to help them turn your results into actionable insights. Step 10, reporting. Look, it could also be a dashboard, it could also be a piece of software, it could be code. Usually that's your final deliverable. Along the way, you will have deliverables as well, progress reports and what have you. But at some point, the final thing you were supposed to do will be in the hands of the client. After that, you need to invoice. If you don't invoice, you cannot get paid. Once you have gotten paid, you need to close the file. That includes typically a post-mortem, Let's analyze what went well and what didn't go well. And then you'll decide whether you want to keep on working with them, and they'll decide whether they want to keep on working, or whether you move on to other projects. So now we're going to spend a bit of time digging deeper for each of these steps in the life cycle.